A few months ago, I graduated from a UC campus where I majored in human developmental sciences. Though my major was heavily biology and psychology focused, there was a large emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I wrote dozens of papers on systemic racism with a particular focus on the education system. But before I left for college, I didn't really care for protests. They felt unnecessary to me, despite having felt the unjust, unloving world that surrounded me as a bisexual, mixed-race woman of color. But about a month after college started 4 years ago, I was one of the thousands that marched in protest on election night. After that, I realized that I was privileged to not have to care for protests. I was allowed to look away while thousands of people do not have such privilege. And to my black friends, I'm sorry. But I want to be really honest. My dad is a police officer. That, combined with my family's support for the Black Lives Matter movement, has seemed contradictory to people, but I promise you that it's not. Friends have asked how I feel about all the hate towards cops, but the truth is, I'm not mad at people for hating my dad. I'm mad at the cops who make people hate my dad. But I'm even more pissed that there are people that the people that are supposed to protect us are abusing and murdering people out there. I cannot even begin to fathom why other cop families are more angered by the term ACAB than they are by the murderers and abusers being allowed to work alongside their family members. Why they'd rather unfriend someone for being anti-cop than for being openly racist. I want to scream when people say Blue Lives Matter, because at the end of the day, my dad is not blue, he is brown. But that is why I protest for the cause as a whole and for the community as a whole, not why I'm here protesting today. I'm protesting today because I'm tired of brushing off racism in this town as, well, that's Norco for you. Yes. I'm tired of allowing this town to live in a bubble of ignorance. I'm tired of white people saying they have never seen racism in Norco. I want to shout that maybe they've never seen it because it has never been directed toward them. I want to tell them that in 2008, kids constantly threw rocks at, spit on, and even slapped my older brother while calling him a terrorist and other incredibly racist names. I want to tell them that the same year my family watched in horror as Norco Intermediate allowed a talent show act to include a drama teacher wearing a turban, asking for his magic carpet and talking about killing terrorists in India and a bunch of other racial stereotypes and comments. The school didn't care. I want to tell them that 2 years later, I watched again in horror as another skit with many racial stereotypes included a white boy dressed in traditional Indian clothing threw ding-dongs into the crowd from his 7-Eleven during a school play that all students attended. When I anonymously reported my opinions on the play, I was confronted by the drama teacher alone after school hours and told that maybe your people are just too sensitive and that maybe I didn't understand comedy. Again, the school didn't care. I want to tell them that my mother's white ex-best friend here in Norco told her that she isn't racist, but she would never allow her daughter to date a black man. And then in a later conversation, talked about wetbacks and then remembered that my mother is Mexican and said, "Oh, but you're different." I want to tell them that a few weeks ago, my little brother was in a convenience store here in town and watched his employees singled out a black man and then that walked in and followed him around the store. I want to tell them that just last week, a customer came into my store claiming that there was no racism in Norco. And when I told him the story of people throwing rocks at my brother, he tried to justify it, saying that it's okay because I look Middle Eastern. No. I'm marching today because my family has personally experienced racism in this town, but it will never be able to compare to what our black brothers and sisters are facing and have faced. I'll admit, I'm scared for what's about to happen. It might be brutal. I'm expecting to be screamed at and cursed at. I'm expecting to be spit on, and I'm even expecting to be pushed around a little. But the reality is that that will only be a small sample of what the black community faces every single day around the country and the world. So I march for them, because the truth is that all lives cannot matter until black lives do. Thank you.